Okay, somebody asked me what are the things to look for in a good instructor. Well, first of all, I don't like to learn from someone that can't show me how it's done. So if he tells me to do a certain drill or different drill, I'd be like, show me how you want it done so I can actually see how you want it done, and then I can do it. So it's hard to learn from someone that can't do it themselves. And then I also want, like on this particular thing, and I wrote this with my right hand and I am left-handed. And it's hard to write on a dry erase board, so I'm making excuses for my handwriting, okay? Anyway, they need to know, they need to teach everybody. I don't care if you have a seasoned special forces, blah, 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 Delta Force, Navy SEAL, you know, chief of the tribe show up. They need to go over a good safety brief so we're all on the same sheet of music. So I always say, if they're a good instructor and you're trying to learn, you're brand new at shooting, you know nothing about it, then they need to start out with the safety, the handling, the fundamentals, and then the training and practice and doing drills and that sort of thing up here. So it's kind of like a wedding cake. And the base of the cake is always safety first. If you're not safe and you go get a gun to defend yourself and you end up hurting yourself with a gun, then it means nothing. If you go get a gun to defend your family and you end up leaving the gun out and one member of your family gets it and accidentally shoots another member or accidentally hurts themselves with it, then you have defeated your entire purpose. So it is so important that you start out with safety first. And in the safety, I have an acronym called PAT LIES. And the beginning is, P is for point in a safe direction at all times. I don't care if you think it's loaded or unloaded. It never gets pointed at me or at anyone that you don't want it to destroy. The second part is, assume that the gun is always loaded. If you're holding a weapon, you're pointing it at somebody to show it to them, then that's wrong. The third thing is trigger. When you're off the target, you're off the trigger. As soon as you come off that target, finger comes off the trigger. You're on target, off trigger. So off target, off trigger. The fourth is know your target and what's beyond it or beside it, or it can be ricocheted into. The fifth thing is load and unload in a safe area. You want to make sure that a lot of accidents happen when you're loading and unloading a weapon. So make sure it's pointing to the ground, make sure it's pointing in a safe direction, so in case it does accidentally discharge, it won't ricochet into someone or hit someone. The next one is inspect the feed, the face, and the chamber. A lot of people inspect the feed and the face, but they don't look down the chamber. And why do you need to look down the chamber or rod the chamber with something? Because sometimes there could be a stuck item in that chamber, or they could be a bullet still left in that chamber that it failed to extract. So you need to do the feed, face, and chamber. The next is ear and eye protection. Make sure you have that on all times. There's a lot of gun accidents happen where the gun explodes or something happens or you have a little bit of a ricochet or something. You don't want to lose your eyes. And the last one is secure your weapon at all times. Don't leave your weapon in the vehicle. Locked or unlocked, it doesn't matter. You can bust the window out, take a weapon out of the vehicle pretty easy. If you're going to leave a weapon in the vehicle, have another locking device on that weapon in that vehicle, or have it hid in that locking device. A good example is, if I ever have to leave my weapon in the vehicle, I take and run a set of handcuffs through a chain through my weapon and then chain and handcuff it to the frame of the vehicle inside. So if they do break in, they still have to deal with a lock, a handcuff, all this stuff. So it's going to take them a lot of time to get it out. So anyway, that's the basics of safety. The next portion of the wedding cake is the handling of the weapon. How do you handle a weapon? Meaning, load and unload. Teach load and unload. They need to teach you how to load and unload. They need to talk about how you're going to carry the weapon. If someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to know what kind of weapon should I buy, I say, how are you going to carry it? Are you going to conceal carry it? Or are you just going to the range? I mean, what are you doing with the weapon? Is it for self-defense, just target practice, hunting? I mean, what is it? And then how are you going to carry it? You're going to appendix carry it, you're going to 9 o'clock carry it, you're going to in the waistband, out of the waistband, on your back. Thousands of ways, I guess, to carry a weapon. But that's what I ask. So they need to, a good instructor needs to talk about how you're going to carry the weapon in your carry holster. Because you're going to be working with that carry holster from the beginning, over and over. Draw, present, fire. The next thing you need to talk about is the malfunctions of the weapon. This is all still under the handling. The malfunctions, how to deal with the malfunction. The next is the port arms, the low ready, the high ready. What are the commands of the weapon on the range? So they need to know that before they ever go out there. Because if you say low ready, they go, well, what's that? And they turn around and point at you. Well, you need to know what low ready means. So you need to know those commands. The next part of the wedding cake is the fundamentals, the basics and fundamentals. Now, what are basics and fundamentals of shooting? It's always the stance, the grip, the side alignment, the trigger squeeze. Stance, grip, side alignment, trigger squeeze. And then we go to draw and then movement. So it goes back, the draw goes back to your carry holster. What carry holster are you going to carry? Your draw, your movement. So stance, side alignment, trigger squeeze are the basics of shooting. You get those right, and you're going to be on target, and you're going to be accurate. You're going to get your times down, that sort of thing. So after you get the safety, the handling, the basics, fundamentals down, and the instructor goes through all that, then you're going to start doing the actual training and the practice. The training and the practice is going to be basically for you to improve the basics. You're just trying to improve your stance, your grip, your side alignment, trigger squeeze, and draw. And then movement. So then you're going to want to repeat the basics. Stance, grip, side alignment, trigger squeeze again. And movement and draw. And then you want to increase your proficiency. So you keep doing these things. You keep working out the bugs and working out the hang-ups and how you're going to draw it, where you're going to draw it, how smooth it is. Is your shirt in the way? Is the belt in the way? Is your carry holster working out or not? I mean, all these things start helping you increase proficiency. And the goal of that is to get your time, your accuracy, and your movement better. Gets the time down, the accuracy better, and the movement faster. So you're wanting, because what wins a gunfight? What wins a gunfight? Time and accuracy, speed and accuracy. Speed and accuracy, speed and accuracy. Whoever the fastest one is, the bullet's on target first, usually wins. So you want to learn new skills after that. After you get all this stuff down, then you want to continue to improve and learn new skills. Learn ways to get out of the vehicle, learn ways to get in the vehicle, learn ways to draw your weapon from a different holster, from a different pack, from the bedside, from the prone position, from the standing position, from the kneeling position. Also, in a gunfight, they say that you have an 80% more survival rate if you're moving. So what does that tell us? We want to be moving. So our stance, our grip, side alignment, trigger squeeze, draw, and movement. We want to be getting off the X. The key to all this is building blocks of being a good shooter and a good gunfighter. So along with all this stuff, the safety, the handling, the fundamentals, and the training and practice, you also want to know, I always like my people to know how to handle gunshot wounds. A little bit of the medical stuff. Because if something happens, if you don't do all these safety things right, there's a good chance something's going to happen and you're going to get injured, or somebody's going to get injured. And if that happens, you need to know how to deal with a gunshot wound. Hopefully it's not fatal. But if you follow all these safety rules right here, there's everybody that's gotten shot or got injured from a gunshot is because they didn't follow one of these rules. Think about that. If you follow all these rules, there won't be an accident. The gun is for your safety. It's to protect you and your family. So make sure that it doesn't end up hurting you or your family by breaking one of these safety rules. Okay? So when someone asks you, or you're out there looking for a good trainer, sit them down and say, man, I need to know what you're going to teach me. How you're going to teach me before I pay you or start learning from you or something like that. I need to know. And then I may need you to demonstrate to me that you can actually shoot a gun. I know a lot of instructors that can't shoot. They can't shoot and move. They can't draw, shoot, and move. So these are things that you need to make sure that you're learning from somebody that's going to give you good information, that's going to help you learn to be a good safety, handling, fundamentals, and then the training. Okay? Go out and be a better shooter, better gunfighter, protect your family, protect yourself, and make everyone around you safe.